Hi friends, welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany. Today's video is a book haul. It is that time again, time to share all the books that have come into my collection in the month of April. I feel like this month has just been speeding past. I've got some exciting books to share. A couple of things have come in from publishers. I have some pre-orders that came in that I'm very excited about, and then kind of a selection of other stuff. So I don't feel like this is as big of a book haul as what I've had in some months, which I'm definitely perfectly fine with. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's begin with book mail from publishers. I've only actually got two things this month. First up, from the Harlequin publicity team, I have The Hate Project by Chris Ripper. This was sent to me for promotion on Instagram, and it looks cute. It's kind of an enemies to lovers gay romance that is part of their Karina Adores line. Very cute cover, so thank you to them. And then perhaps the thing that I was most excited about, enough that I did a whole unboxing video on TikTok, which by the way, I'm now on TikTok, like doing book talk videos, and it has been super fun. So maybe if people are interested, at some point I will do a video talking about how to TikTok. Not that I'm like a master at it or anything, but I'm getting the hang of it, and it's been very fun. All that to say, Tour.com, they have been very, very good to me this year, and they sent me a super exciting package, so let's open it. Whole little package of stuff for a book that I was very much anticipating, and that book is A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. This is coming out in October, and it says it's a subversive feminist retelling of Sleeping Beauty, which I'm very excited about because I read another Sleeping Beauty retelling that I really loved that we're gonna get to because I did pre-order a finished copy after reading a review copy of it. But this is a novella. It's her first book from Tor.com. I really love The 10,000 Doors of January, which was her debut novel, and I'm excited to see what she does with a fairy tale. So Tor.com kindly sent me an ARC, as well as a signed book plate, this beautiful print, a letter from the editor, and this absolutely gorgeous pin. Like, seriously, can you see that? There you go. Look at that pin. It's so pretty. I love it. So huge thanks to Tor.com. I really love all the books that they're putting out, and they've just been like sending me all the things, which is very exciting. So that's it from publishers this month. Next, let's talk about my pre-orders. I had a few of them, two of which I have already read because I read them for review and loved them and needed finished copies. First up, and no one should be surprised, we have Careless Whispers by Cynthia Williams. This is one of my favorite romances of 2021. I love this series so much. It's got a lot of fun, soapy family drama, and this in particular has a prickly heroine. It's a slow burn, hate to love romance, and I was here for it. I loved everything about this, and I'm pushing it on lots of people. Definitely needed to buy a finished copy. And the other book that I've already read and loved is Malice by Heather Walter. I decided to buy the UK cover. People seem to have mixed feelings on whether they prefer the US edition or the UK edition. I like this one. I think it's kind of fun. It is a sapphic retelling of Sleeping Beauty, as I was mentioning earlier, from the perspective of the evil sorceress, where the princess falls for the sorceress, and the sorceress in this is more like darkly brooding and misunderstood, and we're getting more of her backstory. And it's one of these types of characters that I really love to read about, where it's somebody who's capable of good or evil, but you see how the way people treat them and how circumstances affect who they are and who they choose to become. I love this. It's the first book in a duology, and I will be very excited for book 2 as well. So got a finished copy of that. And then two other pre-orders that I have not yet read. First up, we have The Unbroken by C.L. Clark. This is, I believe, a debut epic fantasy story dealing with like empire, which sounds really interesting. The main character had been stolen as a child to become a soldier, and there's now like a political rebellion wanting to overthrow this government. Also, I think one of our main characters is disabled, which is kind of cool, so really excited to pick this up. Then my final pre-order this month is a romance from an indie author. This is Black Moon Rising by Mila Nix. I read the first book in the series and really enjoyed it a lot, so I wanted to read the second book and decided to get myself a physical copy. If you've seen my recommendation video with romances featuring plus size or fat heroines, you might have seen the first book in this series recommended, because we do have a plus size heroine. I really love the first book. It's got some paranormal elements to it, where in book 1, our heroine is a witch who's under a curse universe, and our hero is part of a duo who run a show investigating supernatural phenomena, and they kind of get together by the end. And this book is following the couple again, where I think they're gonna go undertake cases, like paranormal cases. So I'm really excited to read this. Then I picked up 2 books this month for book clubs that I'm a part of. I grabbed Deal with the Devil by Kit Rocha. This is the first book in the Mercenary Librarian series. We're reading this for the Blades and Bodice Rippers book club. I want to say in June. I think in June we're reading this. It's like a post-apocalyptic librarian story with some kind of a romance plot. I don't really know much else about it, but we're going to be reading that. And then I also got Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno, because this is my Patreon book club pick for... When are we reading this? June? I think we're reading this in June, yes. So this is the Patreon book club pick for June. It is a YA contemporary novel with a sapphic relationship. I don't know much else about this either, but I have heard good things, so I grabbed those 2 for book club. Then some of you might know that in the building I live in, people will leave books in the lobby if they no longer want them and anyone can grab them. It's been a good few months for me getting books that I'm kind of interested in from there for free. So one that I found that I'm kind of interested in is Rage by Bob Woodward. I'm like, am I interested in this? I'm kind of interested, even though I feel like it's gonna make me mad. But this is obviously a nonfiction book about the Trump presidency. And then I found 2 other nonfiction books that looked really interesting that I kind of snapped up. The first one is Heavy, an American memoir by Keith Lehman. This is blurbed by Roxane Gay, who I love and definitely trust. She said it's astonishing, difficult, intense, layered. Wow, it's dealing with race and body, and I don't know, it's a memoir. It looked really interesting, so I found that. And then the last one is Racism, A Short History by George M. Fredrickson, which is apparently like a modern classic looking at the history of Western racism, which y'all know is something I'm interested in my nonfiction. So yeah, three new nonfiction titles to add to the shelves for free, which was definitely nice. Then for the other books that I picked up this month, I have one other nonfiction book, and you know, this is something that I actually saw recommended on a TikTok account about parenting. So this is No More Meltdowns by Jed Baker, PhD, Positive Strategies for Managing and Preventing Out of Control Behavior. We do have a 4-year-old, and you know, as is normal for 4-year-olds, occasionally we get meltdowns, and there have been times when I'm like, okay, I'm like doing my best to manage this in an effective way, but if somebody else has other strategies or things to try, I will take it. So it's not super long. It looks pretty easy to read, so we'll try that out. Then somebody either in like a YouTube comment or a stream or something told me about this book, and so I went out and ordered it. Oh, I think this was on my nonfiction book when I premiered my nonfiction book recommendation video, which I'll link that up above if you haven't seen it yet. But somebody told me about this thing that I did not know existed. It is a graphic novel, a nonfiction graphic novel called Amazons, Abolitionists, and Activists, A Graphic History of Women's Fight for Their Rights by Mickey Kendall and A. D'Amico. I love Mickey Kendall. She wrote Hood Feminism, which was one of my favorite nonfiction books of last year, and I didn't know she had done a graphic novel. This looks really cool. It's like little graphic biographies of women activists and abolitionists and stuff over the years, so really excited to add that to the collection. Then I guess why don't we just talk about the other books that I bought that I'm gonna blame on other people? Because I had a few of them this month. One is a book that somebody mentioned in the comments on one of my videos, and I was like, that sounds really interesting, so I just decided to kind of impulse buy it. This is The Bleeding of the Stone by Ibrahim El-Koni. It's a work in translation from a Libyan author, and it sounds really interesting. It's a short novel that says it blends reality, fantasy, and mysticism. Yeah, and so this person had commented and had some really great things to say about it, and I was like, that sounds really interesting, let me grab a copy of it. Then a book that I bought on the recommendation of Alan from the Library of Alexandria is A Shadow in Summer by Daniel Abraham. This is the first book in the Long Price Quartet, which is a fantasy series that I think has a lot of like political intrigue elements to it. I'm not totally sure, but he's been reading these and loving them, so I decided to get the first book to try out. And I will have all of the channels I mentioned linked down below if you want to check them out. Last one, inspired by somebody else this month, is the Bookish Mom was talking about this book. She had talked about it other places too, but we were on a World Hoppers episode together and she mentioned this book and I was like, okay, I need to get this. It is The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst. The thing she said about this is that one of the main characters is a mother and she thought it was done really well. Also, it's a standalone fantasy novel that sounded really interesting and it has like dark magic, bone magic, and yeah, I have not actually read any adult books by Sarah Beth Durst before. I read one of her middle grade books and really loved it, and I've been meaning to read more from her, so there you go. Jessie, I grabbed this after hearing you talk about it. Okay, 3 more books to talk about, and then I have my Book of the Month box. First up, I was excited about this book and wanted to get it eventually, but then one of my friends told me that I was in the acknowledgements and I was like, well, now I really need to pick it up. So I grabbed a copy of That Way Madness Lies, Shakespeare's Most Notable Works Reimagined, edited by Dahlia Adler. I am really excited about this. You may have heard me talking and raving about His Hideous Heart, which was edited by this same author last year, which was reimagining short stories by Edgar Allan Poe. I thought it was really, really fantastic and I loved it. And so I was very excited to hear that they were going to do one with Shakespeare because I love Shakespeare. And this is, I think, 13 different plays, and they gathered together all of these different YA authors, some of whom I really love. Kay Ancrum, Melissa Bashardust, Kirsten White, Brittany Cavallero, Mark Oshiro, like Tochi Onyebuchi. They've got like a really great collection of people and reimagining Shakespeare's plays. I'm really excited about it, but the thing is like I am in the acknowledgements, which I was very excited for like helping to promote the first book because I just really loved it, so yay. All right, and then the 2 others are books that I have read previously but wanted to own copies of. First up is The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. I've been meaning to buy a copy of this for like a couple years and it went on sale and I finally just decided to go ahead and grab it. This is such a great reimagining of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from the perspective of Elizabeth Frankenstein, who's the childhood friend and kind of like betrothed of Victor Frankenstein, the one who created the monster. It's really interesting and offers kind of a fresh perspective on the story. It's got a lot of nods to the original and I just think it's incredibly well done. So I've been wanting to own a copy for quite some time. Also, this is fun. It's got like an, if you can see, it's got like an imprint of scissors on the front. So yeah. And then lastly, this is the first book that has arrived so far, but I actually have more coming. I have a used hardcover copy of Soul of the Fire by Terry Goodkind. You might know that myself and my friend Leanna from Leanna's Library have buddy read a couple of these sort of truth books. We both really enjoyed them when we were growing up, and I actually have a podcast episode where we kind of discuss the positives of the series that everybody loves to hate, and announcements may be coming. So yeah, slowly acquiring some of the hardcovers. I do have some in mass market paperback, but they're not the most pleasant to read, so I was able to find on eBay some fairly inexpensive hardcover copies. So I have this one and then I have like a big box of the rest of them. Lastly, for this book haul, I have my Book of the Month Club box. If you are not familiar with Book of the Month Club, you probably are because I feel like a lot of people talk about them on here, but I subscribe to them and I really enjoy them. It's $15 a month, including shipping, for one new release or sometimes pre-release hardcover book. They always have 5 different options from different genres you can choose from, and if you don't like any of the options, you can skip, which I actually did last month because I didn't really care to own any of them, but I made up for it this month because I got 2 add-ons. You can get up to 2 add-ons for $10 each. So that is what I did. So let's see what I got. My pick for April was Liberty by Caitlin Greenidge. This was actually on my most anticipated books of the year list, or in one of those videos I made, so this was already kind of on my radar. It's a historical fiction coming of age story about a Black woman who I think wants to go to medical school. Right. So she's a freeborn Black girl in Reconstruction era Brooklyn, and her mother is a practicing physician who wants her to go to medical school and practice alongside her, but Liberty, of course, feels drawn to music, so it's kind of a coming of age story. The cover is gorgeous, and when I saw it was one of the options, I snapped that up. But I got two others because they had some really good options this month. First up, we have Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This is so cute. It's the first book in a new cozy mystery series by a Filipino author featuring a Filipino protagonist, which I think is really cool. I know cozy mysteries are very popular, but you don't necessarily always see as much diversity in the stories that are getting told. This looked really cute. It's a Tita Rosie's Kitchen mystery. Grabbed that. And then the last book that I got this month is a collection of short stories. This is Love and Color, Mythical Tales from Around the World Retold by Bolo Babalola. Again, the cover is really pretty, and this sounded so interesting. It says, a highborn Nigerian goddess who has been beaten down and unappreciated by her gregarious lover longs to be truly seen. A young businesswoman attempts a great leap in her company and an even greater one in her love life. A powerful Ghanaian spokeswoman is forced to decide whether she should uphold her family's politics or be true to her heart. So this is a debut collection of short stories. It looks really great. So yeah, I love some of the options that they've had, so I grabbed 3 books from Book of the Month Club. And that is it. Those are all of the books that I've acquired in the month of April. Quite a few that I've already read, some that I picked up for free because they were just available, which is exciting, but a lot of stuff I'm very excited for. And see, this is what happens, is you guys tell me about books and you don't even know. Sometimes I'm like, add to wish list, add to cart. like other people definitely inspire me to buy books. So talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts or feelings on anything I talked about in this video. And for your question of the day, tell me your favorite retelling. We've talked about a lot of retellings in this video, of fairy tales, of classic literature. What is one of your favorite retellings of something original, whether a fairy tale or a piece of classic literature? This could be a book, this could be a film adaptation. Let me know in the comments down below and tell me why it's your favorite. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you want to support the work of the channel, check out the Patreon link down below or check out channel memberships. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.